When I was in high school, I read the book Siddhartha. It talks about the inner voice. Your mind needs to expand, so really reading philosophy, psychology opens your mind a little bit so that you can resist hard times better. The only way your mind can expand, if you stay limited and you don't learn that much, you really don't grow. In order for me to think critically and strategically, what are the things I need to know is a very good question to ask. Without knowing how to calculate certain things, you can't do it. We think we're very smart humans, but a lot of it is assumptions and fallacies and beliefs. Stories and different things I'm gonna try to answer for you guys, but we're gonna do it as we tour this area. So I hope you guys enjoy that. I hope you guys like it, and I hope you guys taste some Ethiopian coffee. How do I maintain work-life balance? I don't have a work-life balance. I don't think there need to be, because I'm not married or anything like that, so I don't really need to worry about work-life balance. Dating once in a while, going on a date is important. I do that. But other than that, really, I'm mostly work. And then I hang out with my friends. The privilege of working for myself is if I'm really tired today, then, I'll sleep in tomorrow. That's an amazing amount of privilege, but also that means if I need to work today all day and then tonight I have to go pick up somebody from the airport because they're landing and they're gonna go on a tour, I go do that and then I rest the next day. So there's no really work-life balance. It's more of work comes first and then life comes second. Achievement-wise, what personal achievement am I proud of is, I'm not there yet to be proud of something, but I'm very proud that I haven't left Ethiopia and gone back to the US. I could have gone back many times, even during COVID. My dad even asked me if I wanted to move back and stuff like that. I said I should stay here because still my head says there's so much opportunity. So I'm very proud when things got tough that I didn't just pack up and move back and figure out there. I'm very proud of that, and I think it's paid off for me mentally very well, and business-wise, it will pay off huge. The fact that I've kept on going and I've kept on producing here in Ethiopia. So I'm very proud of that. That's a big achievement, really. I like meditating, but I don't think I used to like meditating, proper meditating, the way people think about it, like sitting down and meditating. But now I take walks maybe 2-3 times a day. So because I need to think, so I'll sit. I'll work for 3-4 hours, whatever, 2 hours. And then when I need to think about something or when I have something important on my mind, I go for a walk. And when I'm walking, that's really when I'm, decompressing and also thinking about stuff and putting things in order. So for me, that is my meditation. I'm trying to get back to like early morning and evening kind of meditations before I sleep. But the main thing that I do almost every day, really every day, if I don't go in nature and walk around, I don't feel right, is going on a walk. So I'll do one like early morning. I'll do one. There's a route like this around my house, so I'll walk a small thing, and then during midday after lunch also I'll walk a little bit, and like 30-minute walk, 20-minute walk. And then the main one that I walk is around 6 o'clock. After we're done with work, I'll go for a much longer walk, and that one was really the one that I listened to an audiobook, and that's the one that's great. Spirituality, I'm not a religious person, but like spirituality in a way. When I was in high school, I read the book Siddhartha, and in that book it talks about how the inner voice, so for me spirituality is really the inner voice and how you think about stuff, how you feel about stuff. But the inner voice is usually more correct than you think. So for me, it's really trying to stay in tune with that. Like, so, whenever you're feeling lazy, your inner voice feels lazy and it tells you. Whenever you're feeling, somebody's asking you something and whether you want to give or not, there's an inner voice that tells you feel bad for somebody. So then you can help. Somebody's asking for something, but you don't feel bad. So then you may not need to give because your inner voice is way more in tune with other stuff. And Ethiopia, when I say this, people may not have an insight. There's a lot of beggars on the street and people that beg you. So how do you know who to give to and who not to give to? Because you do want to help, but how do you know? So that's one of those things. Like stay in tune with yourself and your voice. And if you feel bad for somebody or sad, you help out. If you're neutral, you're neutral. That's I think is a that's tapping into a bigger thing that we'll go into some other time. What role does critical thinking play in my decision making? We don't even know what that means a lot of the time, or earlier on I never really understood what that means. So one of the things for me to think about was, okay, what does logic play in reason, understanding? So I read a lot of books on logic and reasoning, and especially strategy, which plays a key role. So even like just saying, okay, critical, in order for me to think critically and strategically, what are the things I need to know, is a very good question to ask, because without knowing how to calculate certain things, you can't do it. Like we think we're very smart humans, but a lot of it is assumptions and fallacies and beliefs. So understanding which are my beliefs, which are my understandings, play a great role. So critical thinking wise, even just saying, okay, how do I think? How do I need to think? What are strategic thinking is key. And part of this development also, we'll talk about the city and how they're doing it, but that'd be a great area to talk about. So what philosophical beliefs guide me in my personal and business life? Philosophy, it gives you direction, like religion gives you direction, but religion is part of philosophy. So for me, I've grand scheme of things, I want to be a good person and I want to be a successful person. Okay, successful goes into the religion aspect of it, goes into the spiritual aspect of it, goes into being a good friend, brother, all that kind of stuff. Successful goes into the business side of it. But if they're two merged together, you become a very happy person. So that's what I'm going for. So I want to be a good business person. Okay, what does that mean? It means I need to understand just the stuff that I talked about earlier. I need to understand filming and social media and customer service and logistics and planning. I need to understand each of those are major things. Understanding those, and then applying that in a very kind and in a very good way, and as much as possible in a fair way to everybody, whether it's customer, whether people you work with, or people you give what do you call this, vendors, or all that kind of stuff. Like if you do those things fairly in a very nice manner, I think it pays dividends. People will be way nicer to you. People will give you, will do things for you, not necessarily give you, but like they'll go out of their way to be nice to you, which is way more than you can pay with money or anything like that. And my beliefs are like really to be nice and as fair as possible. And obviously you make mistakes. When you make mistakes, you say sorry, and really try to do it in a kind way, because I don't want to burn any bridges while I'm building something. Right now I'm just building, so I don't want to burn any bridges. I don't want to step on anybody's toes, and I don't want anybody to say it was given to him or this or that. I want to make it on my own, and in order to do that, fair, nice, kind, it's a very simple path. What role does continuous learning play in my life? So learning, it's not something that people really think about or need to think about, because it's important. We all agree on that. But for somebody like me specifically that dropped out, with not a lot of education, the key thing really is to learn a lot in different areas, because also, one, there's a lot of information to know and to increase, and a lot of stuff to work on. That's obvious. The different subjects: videography, marketing, branding, HR, like management. I need to learn how to manage team. No, logistics. There's just so much to learn. But also on top of that, your mind needs to expand. So really, reading philosophy, psychology opens your mind a little bit, so that you can resist hard times better. You can work harder. So knowing and learning is very important. It's also the only way your mind can expand. So, if you stay limited and you don't learn that much, you really, really don't grow. But the more you read, your mind expands, your understanding of the world expands, your understanding yourself expands. So unless you learn, I don't know how you could possibly grow. You're stuck in one area, one time zone, one field. But reading and learning is the only way to really time travel, history wise, understanding different nature, physics, biology, chemistry, like not deep, but like having a basic understanding of how those things work is one of the most amazing things that you can do for yourself. So that's what we do. That's the only way I've been able to sustain myself in hard times and in good times, and also for planning and also for dreaming. I don't know how the sound is gonna be, but I hope you guys could hear me. So, tour, art, Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, doing business in Ethiopia, and also at some point we'll have Adulis Media coming for people who want editing, videography, vlogging, like social media management. We'll have all that coming. But for right now, I hope you're enjoying Ethiopia.